Hello, everyone. This is the fifth class for social psychological perspectives on health. In the last classes lectures, I covered chapter 2, and then in the chapter 2, I talked about social identity theory and social self-categorization theory and how they may be related to our health. Today, I talk about social status and then how social status is related to our health. And then also I will talk how social status may be related to our social identity and thus to our well-being and health. So please read chapter 3 and listen to this lecture. So social status, there's a famous research about health gradient. Health gradient really means there's a gradation of health conditions in terms of their social status, which means that higher social status tend to have better health compared to lower social status. In this lecture, I say social status, but social status can be called in many ways, like social rank, social class, and socioeconomic status. I think in social psychology, we tend to say socioeconomic status, meaning that high socioeconomic status indicates that people with high education, high income, high salary job, and yeah, and then low social economic status mean that they may not have a job, and then they may not have been well educated, and they may not have enough money to cover their life. In sociology, they may use social status or social rank or social class. But in terms of what they mean, they basically mean income, wealth, education, living conditions, skills, gender, ethnicity, geographical location, or social standing more generally. So social status encompasses these terms and words. And there are research showing that these social status affect access to resources, education, housing, quality of employment, and the extent to which they can exert power and social influence over others. And when they do not have these like access to access to resources, education, housing, quality of employment, and so on, they may experience stress. And when they experience stress, they, their well-being will go down, and then their health will be negatively impacted. So in short, social status affects our health and well-being and even mortality. So here is a graph showing the health gradient in Australia. So you can see that there are 5 categories here. So mm, okay, lowest people here, and then on the far right side, there's a highest people, and blue bar indicates men, and then orange bar indicates women, and the y-axis indicates this is per 10,000, 100,000 population. Okay. So on the x-axis indicates the social class. The lowest indicates the people in the lowest social class, and then highest indicates the people in the highest social class. And then as you can see, uh, the higher the social class, the rates of death, the lower the rates rate of death. Okay. And then that's uh, identical for both men and women. So this means that in 3 years, just because just because being in the higher social class, they tend to die with fewer possibility, or the death rate tends to be smaller. Okay. And then even indicates that the richest 20% live 6 years longer than the poorest 20%. So just because being in the higher social class gives people extra years to live. And then this is the health gradient. So because of social class differences, the health condition people could enjoy have a gradation. Okay. So before I talked about social identity perspectives on health, today I will start with physiological models. So there are animal studies showing that low status evokes a strong biological stress response. And when such stress response is chronically high, it compromises their health. So even with animals, social status or status within a group influences their immune system and their health conditions. So when low status evokes a strong biological stress response, they their influences such as immune suppression, loss of muscle mass, and reproductive suppression. So their immune system doesn't work well, and then their muscle mass decreases, and then also they cannot really reproduce. They cannot have babies well. Okay. And for example, there's a study showing that when squirrel monkeys are exposed to a live snake, dominant male squirrel monkeys showed greater and more rapid response. So when they see a snake, when the monkeys see a snake, they rapidly make a movement so that they can escape from a snake. And then by escaping from a snake, they can remove such stressful situations. Okay. However, subordinate, meaning that lower status monkeys in a group, subordinate male monkeys showed a more sluggish or slow physical response. So basically, they get freezed, or maybe they try to escape from a snake, but they can only move very slowly. And because they are unable to escape from stress quickly or rapidly, they tend to experience more stress. Basically, they cannot remove stressful situations very rapidly. And because of that, they tend to experience stress longer and more. And then there is also research showing that low status is related to low predictability and lack of control, meaning that subordinate monkeys have to monitor how dominant monkeys would behave. No, dominant monkeys can behave freely, and then subordinate monkeys have to accommodate their behaviors in according to dominant monkeys. Okay, so dominant monkeys have more control of their behaviors. Like they can behave however they want, but subordinate monkeys always need to look for how dominant monkeys are going to work, going to move. Like if they are going to eat, then maybe subordinate monkeys have to wait until the dominant monkeys eat. And then when dominant monkeys are on the top of mountain, maybe dominant subordinate monkeys needs to hide away from the dominant monkeys. So they can, I mean, subordinate monkeys cannot really move as they want. And then this leads to lack of controllability and then also low predictability. High predictability means that they know what would happen. And this is the case when they have a control, when they can freely behave. You know, they have predictability when they know how they want to behave and how they can behave how they want. But subordinate monkeys have to see or watch how dominant monkeys would behave. And thus they can really predict, right, how dominant monkeys would behave. And thus subordinate monkeys tend to have low predictability. And this would be related to more stress. Okay. So in general, dominant monkeys tend to feel less stress compared to subordinate monkeys. However, social context matters. When the status is unstable or social ranks is unstable because ranks within a group change regularly. So at one point, dominant a monkey may be in a high social class, but they may be attacked by other monkeys and then their rank could go down. So such a situation can be called as unstable. Okay. And when social ranks are unstable, high status or dominant animals experience higher stress due to unpredictability of their own status. So if the social class or the uh, context itself is very unstable, dominant monkeys have to be always careful so that they wouldn't be attacked and then their status would not be stolen by other monkeys. And because of such attentiveness and then monitoring the situation all the time, dominant monkeys experience more stress than low status monkeys. Okay. So, but here I wrote, is it true? So basically, I looked up the article cited in the textbook, and there was Gusto and et al. In 1991. And then in the textbook, it says that high dominant animals experience higher stress due to unpredictability of their own status. But in the original article, it says that actually low status animals experience higher status. And then here is the results and that I created from the article, the original article. On the y-axis, on the y-axis, sorry. And it says CD4 plus T cell. This is basically the level of immune system. So, and then when it is zero, it means that the immune system working properly. So this zero means, so as it says, change from baseline. So zero means that they are calm. In the calm situation, their immune system is at zero. And then when it goes down, it means that their immune system is not working well. But when it goes up, their immune system is overreacting and it may attack even healthy body cells. Okay? And then the situation is like this. So there are four high dominant animals and then four low dominant animals, basically monkeys. And then they are put in like a cage or a living area. And then at on day one, both high dominant monkeys and low dominant monkeys experience decrease in their immune system. And then as you can see, uh, low dominant monkeys experience a stronger decrease in their immune system. In 8 days, you can see that dominant monkeys, the immune system of dominant monkeys come back to almost zero, means that they are back to the situation where they were not experiencing any stress. However, excuse me, low dominant monkeys immune system still experiencing a decrease, is still at a very low level. Okay, so this indicates that low dominant animals still their immune system is still compromised. Okay. So it looks like that unlike what textbook says, low status animals are experiencing higher stress. Okay. But in 4 weeks, low status monkeys still experiencing the compromise of immune system. But you can see that higher status animals, the immune system of higher status monkeys are also overreacting. And even after 9 weeks, when low dominant monkeys are already settling down to their new environment, and then they are no longer experiencing any stress, and then their immune system is just working fine. High dominant monkeys are still experiencing immune overreaction. So I think the authors of the textbook we are reading were referring to these two parts, or maybe only this part. Okay. So after 9 weeks, the situation is kind of maybe changing, and then the status that it is becoming unstable. Low dominant monkeys maybe trying to climb up the social rank, and so that they can enjoy higher social status. And in such situation, dominant monkeys are being threatened by low status monkeys, and then they are trying to protect their current status, and because of such threat and then attack from low status monkeys, they are experiencing higher status. This is, I think, what the textbook is saying, but in the original textbook, both low and then high, and especially low monkeys are experiencing high stress at the beginning. Okay. So I think what we can get from this is that you always need to look for the original text, even original article, even the textbook. You shouldn't trust blindly. Okay. And then in terms for the aim of this class, I think the main message is in the new environment, both low and then high status monkeys experience high stress. And then that is especially case for low status monkeys. But when the situation becoming shaky and unstable, so that low status animals can climb up the ladder of social class, then those in the high social status will be threatened and experience higher stress. Okay. And there's another data in the same article, I guess, or maybe, sorry, different research. So a study with various primates living in captivity, meaning that maybe they're in a zoo or something. And then subordinates showed higher stress response than dominants when they did not have opportunities for social support. So up to this point, I was saying that social status is related to better health, meaning that higher social status is always related to better health. And that's even true for animals, monkeys. But the social context do matter. So when the social status is unstable, then even high status monkeys, oh, sorry, actually, high status monkeys experience more stress than low uh, status monkeys. And there's another factor that influence how much monkeys experience stress, and that is social support. In the graph, the upper graph, it indicates uh, so on the x-axis, it indicates the degree to which subordinates are exposed to social stresses. It means that the more they have social stresses, they experience higher cortisol. They would show higher cortisol level. Cortisol is a hormone, like stress hormone. So when they have more, when they have a higher cortisol level, it means that they are experiencing higher stress. Okay, so as you can see, uh, the more they have stresses, they tend to have higher stress. That looks like straightforward. But and then also this is relative to relative cortisol level, meaning that relative to dominant animals, subordinate animals are more sensitive to stresses, and then they tend to experience higher stresses. And each number indicates the identity of each animal. So there are 10 monkeys in this study, and then it shows that the more stresses they experience, they tend to experience higher stress than dominant animals. Okay. So as you can see, when there is no stressor, uh, animals experience lower status. Sorry, I said each number indicates the identity of each monkey, but maybe not. I think each identity represents the group of animals studied. And when there is no stresses, these subordinate animals do experience less stress than the dominant animal, as it is 80%. But when there's one stressor, they experience higher stress than the dominant animals. And when there's two, yeah, it's about same amount of stress as dominant animals. But when there's three stresses, or more stresses, then they tend to experience much more stress than the dominant animals. So you can see that there is a social class influence here. But okay, now I'm here to the more important point. So now the x-axis is degree to which social support is available for subordinate. Okay. And when there is no social support, they are experiencing very high cortisol level compared to dominant animals. But there's one social support, then some of them are experiencing less stress than the dominant animals. but others are still experiencing high stress compared to dominant animals. But if they have two, they are experiencing less stress and so on. And then there's no really time data points here, but if they have even more social support, it's expected that they would experience much less stress than dominant animals. Okay. So there are two factors that influence their stress level. One is how the situation is stable. When the situation is stable, they can expect sorry, dominant monkeys would experience higher stress than lower lower status monkeys. And the other factor is how much social support they may have. And then even among the low status monkeys, if they have more social support, the extent to which they experience stress, it can be decreased. Okay. So these are the monkeys, the pictures of monkeys referred in the textbook. This is rhesus monkey, macaque monkey, tarapoins, squirrel monkey, and olive baboons. So basically, these monkeys are influenced by social support. The health of these monkeys are influenced by social class, and then also these monkeys can benefit from social support so that the degree to which they experience stress can be decreased. So, to improving one's status is not the only way to improve your health. The other way is to strengthen the social solidarity, which means that feeling connected and united with one another is a key. So by social solidarity, instead of climbing up the social ladder, you can strengthen your social solidarity with your friends and families and your relatives, and that can help you to to have a better health. Okay. So this is kind of similar to how humans, restore their positive identity. Like when the situation is unstable, like when they think that they can change the social situations, then they may use some strategies to restore their positive identity, right? And then also when they have social support, they can experience better health. So I think I will just stop here and then I will continue the rest of chapter 3 and then I will explain how these can be also seen in human health situations. Okay.